welcome to our time. Great to have your company once again this time. Multiple sclerosis, or MS as it's commonly known, can take some time to be diagnosed, but we really know very little about the disease. Here to explain more about MS is Sean Kennedy, who is the CEO of the MS Society of South Australia and the Northern Territory, and Jessica Worsley, who actually has MS, and she's the Disability and Inclusion Advocate for MS. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You'd never know you had it.
Not by looking at me.
Exactly. And that's one of the problems, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, it can be.
Well, we'll talk about your situation, but Sean, you started in the most unusual way. Got nothing to do with this.
Yeah, look, I've spent most of my working career in the corporate sector, in automotive and defence industries and a little bit of government, but I really had that sort of pull towards more social and community-based organisations. So the opportunity to leave the corporate world and work in an organisation where you actually make a difference to the society and people that live in amongst us every day was just too much of an offer to refuse.
Well, one of the most important things for everyone to realise is that the society isn't funded, is it?
Yeah,
Not by government.
No, and look, we don't receive any direct government funding. We have some indirect funding via services, but fundamentally we raise money, we fundraise, we run lotteries, and we have people who give us very generous gifts from time to time, and that's the way we are able to provide services to the community. It is something that is a real problem.
Well, when you were diagnosed, did you know what to do?
No, not at all. No, I had to process the fact that I'd been diagnosed, full stop, first of all.
Did you feel it was a sentence? A life sentence?
Yeah, I thought that my life was ending then and there. The life that I knew it was ending then and there. It was completely flipped upside down the minute that I heard the words MS.
Did you know what it meant then?
I had known one person who had lived with MS. What I knew of it was, I guess, before treatment options and a very worst case late progression scenario. So it was scary.
Is late progression more an age thing though?
No, it's not age. Again, it's different for each and every person, so it would depend on...
Yes, and that's the confusing thing. So, Sean, how did you find out enough about the society and about what sort of, well, really how to govern it, I suppose, is the expression?
Yeah, when you join an organisation which has such a huge, rich history that's been around for over 60 years, you know, we're lucky enough to have staff that have enormous amount of experience, either personal, like Jess does, or having worked with hundreds and thousands of clients. And so everybody's experience with MS is unique and different. Some people have progressive MS where it gets progressively worse very quickly, and some have symptoms that appear and then go into remission for a while and reappear again. And none of this is a set pattern that people can track. Everybody just has this unique story, and just like Jess, quite often invisible. So it does make it really hard to make the community understand and become aware.
So, Jess, you had a child, but you didn't know you had MS until after you gave birth?
That's correct. About really 4 weeks, 6 weeks postpartum, symptoms appeared. Enough for me.
And did you think that was part of that, or were you aware that something else was not right?
I knew within myself that something was wrong. It took a lot of doctors to actually listen and hear me and what I was saying, but because I was a new mum, a lot of these symptoms can be put down to a lot of things, and so it was all put down to being tired and with a new baby.
Quite.
Yeah.
Well, I can imagine that. We've actually got a couple of photos of your daughter and also your stepson. Oh, look, isn't she lovely?
Yes, she's beautiful.
Burst into ears, isn't she lovely? But this hasn't affected the children, of course, but it's probably affected you a little bit with the children.
Parenting and, you know, from postpartum right through, it's not how I expected my motherhood journey to go. It's just not. But, you know, they are the reason that I continue to fight every day, and I do believe that they are the reason that I am living as well as I am now.
Yeah, isn't that interesting though? It's we're curious beings in many ways because our bodies, although it can be, the nerves can be fighting, our head still works. Only you have to rest a bit to make things happen.
I do. I have to listen to my body. I have to listen when it's time to rest. And, you know, access the services and the supports as we often talk about at the end.
Well, how did you learn to listen to your body? Because, I mean, we all sort of, you know, if we feel sick, we know we feel sick.
Yeah.
But this disease is a bit, it's a bit, trying to find the word to describe it. Can you describe it? It's a bit sort of, it can be sinister at times and sort of surprise you a bit.
Each day is different. So I may be feeling very well today and tomorrow can be entirely different. I need to take each day as it comes. I need to listen to my body when I wake up and know when it's time to say, actually, I say no today and I need to put me first.
So what do? Do you rest then? Do you go back to bed?
Can't always rest every time I've got symptoms. This is a part of my life now.
Yep.
Every day.
Because you're working 3 days a week as well.
Yeah, I do. I work 3 days.
Do you have to prepare for that? Prepare in the sense of resting so that you're sort of hopefully your best on those 3 days.
Yeah, look, it's the reason that I have those 2 days a week where I'm not working. They are my therapy days, my days for me to be able to take care of my body. Having a chronic illness is a part-time, full-time job.
It is, Malcolm, though, it is a really interesting part about people with MS and how they manage work. And a big part of the society and what we do is help clients, people like Jess, how to engage with your employer and how to educate your employer that these people with MS live with this, but they do need some additional supports from time to time. And so we don't only work with families and clients, but working with the employers as well.
Well, I've got experience with that because this interview happened because of Teresa De Gennaro, who is a singing performer and also teaches singing for us. I've known Teresa before I knew she had MS, and she tried to mask it by needing to sit down after she'd performed and saying, oh, I've got a bad knee here, you know, from an old basketball injury, because she didn't know how to express. And for people, it's like back in the old days when I was young, if somebody contracted cancer, you know, that was the disease you never talked about, sort of thing. But now if we don't talk about these things and if we're not aware of these things, then a lot of the fear, how long did it take before your fear of hearing about this first, that initial shock, how long did it take before you felt, no, I can live through this?
It doesn't go completely, but it definitely took me a good few years to realise that with the right supports in place that I could live well with MS. But it always stays with you.
Having your daughter and your stepson with you though, was that sort of watching new life, did that give you the impetus to carry on? Yeah,
they need me and they need their mum.
Yeah.
And all I ever wanted was to be a mum and immerse myself in that motherhood journey. So I suppose I wasn't going to let anything get in the way of that. So I needed to do everything that I could to be present and as well as possible for them.
Well, again, talking about Teresa still performs and she went to LA and did quite a bit of work in the movie industry over there. So you can have a life afterwards. This is after being diagnosed. But this is the point we're trying to make. A couple of things. First of all, we need to be aware of what MS is. We need to be aware there's a society to help. And that's what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, so working at the Society, I'm a place for people to come and talk to someone who's been through it. But as an advocate, I support people to exercise their rights, whether that be in the workplace, whether that be with services like the NDIS, whatever that might be for them.
It's not, in the workplace, it's not that hard really. If somebody's got a real skill or an ability, it's not really that hard to find a way around it. Like, have chairs where you need to sit down or just make their life comfortable, or in fact to be aware that if they're having one of those bad days, well, they'll make it up on another time. Yeah. Is that the attitude?
Yeah, look, MS is quite often people are unaware unless you've had a direct family or a workplace experience. And so it is when people aren't aware, that creates fear sometimes. They don't want to make a mistake either. And so the work we do is about creating the dialogue and the discussion, because the more we can talk about conditions like MS, the more people can be less afraid in that situation, and therefore make it normal, because it's not a condition that people necessarily die from. You can still have a lovely, long and prosperous life, but it will be slightly different. And so, you know, how do we play a role in making that a
Well, that's the good point. How do we all make it more comfortable for people? We're going to come back in a tick, and we're going to talk about sort of what MS actually is, because we've been talking about these two letters, but we haven't actually explained how it's affected you. And we'll be back in a tick. So we'll see you after this short break. And welcome back to Our Time. Sean Kennedy and Jessica Worsley are our guests, and we're just about to talk about what is MS. Because you've experienced your version of it, let's say, because there's many versions, how did it feel for you? What does it feel like? How do you know?
For me, I experienced a range of symptoms that really I couldn't pinpoint to anything in particular, but now I know as neurological symptoms. I'm not a medical professional in any way, but I have done my research
you've
to
got a
learn
body.
as much. I do.
And it felt like?
It felt like my body was not mine. I had no control over my body anymore. And it was essentially misfiring with all of these bizarre symptoms.
Was it pain? Was there pain?
There was and is pain. The pain has worsened later down the track for me. So.
And this is because the disease affects the nerve tissue in the body?
Yeah, so my understanding is that the immune system mistakenly attacks the nerve pathways of the central nervous system, the brain and the spinal cord, so can cause a range of symptoms and very different for each person. Yeah.
And that's what makes it so hard to diagnose.
It's very difficult.
And we just mentioned briefly at the beginning, how long did it take before, this is what's wrong, before medical profession could work it out?
About 6 months.
How many people did you see?
6 GPs before I got to an MRI. Yeah.
And is that how it's picked up through MRIs?
That was the initial for me. The scan for me was initial brain MRI. They saw the lesions, and then had a brain and spine MRI and a lumbar puncture as well, with multiple blood tests. Yeah.
Fun, really, isn't it?
Very fun.
But isn't it good to know? I mean, this is really important for people who may be worried about this or may be concerned for a friend, because not everyone can really express this in the way that you would if you were just talking to somebody who actually, like Jess, who's really had it. What's your advice once somebody comes to the society, whether it's a phone number or a phone call, or whether they're trying to read stuff on Google to diagnose themselves?
Yeah, usually what happens is people have a journey of somewhere between, say, 6 months and a couple of years on Jess's story, and they walk out of a neurologist with the diagnosis, but also a massive amount of information, and it's too much.
Yep.
So that normal shock, disbelief, and you've got to go and tell the person you live with, your direct family, you might have children, your employee, you've got to explain it, and you don't understand it yourself. So that's where we come in right at that start of that process. Really, come talk to us. And
this is a face-to-face, come talk to us?
We do
like
all sorts. So
Jess.
if you're lucky enough to live close enough to our wellness centre, we will absolutely come on in and have a conversation, but we provide this over video conferencing. We provide telehealth, so that's how
of course, because not everybody, I mean, this isn't selective to people who live around where you are.
That's right.
Of course.
So everybody has a slightly different contact with us.
When you think about that, though, if you suddenly came down with MS and you're living way out in the bush somewhere or on a farm somewhere, Yes, that getting backwards and forwards, getting information would be very difficult.
So the people who live...
Thank goodness we live in today's world, in a way.
So the people who live rural, quite often their treating doctors also have never had anybody with MS. So
Right.
we also do a lot of work where we go into regional areas and educate the local health professionals around how to recognise MS and how the treatment options are. So we don't only work with clients, we actually help raise the capability and the knowledge of the health and the allied health
The general
industry.
awareness. And this comes at a cost, obviously. And we just briefly mentioned before, you run a lottery. Is it once a year?
We run a series of lotteries
okay.
over the year and campaigns to seek donations. But it's really that money is the lifeblood of our organisation, because that phone call, that support is not funded by anybody.
Right.
And if we didn't exist, you would
And
kind of
obviously
be on your own.
people don't sort of realise, but somebody has to be there. You have to be paid too, because it's your professional employment at the same time.
Yeah. And nobody works in the society to get rich. We do it
Because you
with a
believe
social
it.
heart.
Yeah, sure.
But there is a compensation, and look, society's, everybody in the community is doing it tough at the moment, and we're not immune to that. So we also are doing it tough. Our donations are down. The lotteries aren't as popular as what they maybe once were. So,
Well, everyone talks about the cost of living, and there definitely is. It's a worldwide issue. It's not just here in South Australia and Victoria. Just speaking of Victoria, obviously there's an MS Society in Victoria.
yeah, so if you're anywhere in Australia, you can get support in your state. Our advice to everybody is Google MS Society with your state, and the appropriate organisation will come up in that Google search, and just make that phone call and reach out. Even if you're unsure, just make contact.
Is that what you did?
Yes, it was the first thing I did.
Right.
As soon as my neurologist referred me and suggested I come straight to the MS Society, I was handed multiple brochures for multiple treatments. I was unable to make that decision at that time on my own. So I sat with one of the MS nurses at the MS Society, and they gave me the education I needed and helped me to make an informed decision.
I know there are new drugs and new developments coming out sort of all the time. Have you been involved in any of those programs?
Have I been on the medications myself? Yes. So I went on a medication in the beginning. It was a once-a-day tablet. And I was on that medication for 4.5 years. It did put me into a remission, which I have relapsing remitting MS, which is one of a few different versions. And after that 4.5 years, I did relapse, and I have since been on another treatment, a monthly injectable.
And that's an infusion of...
I self-inject at home.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Is that difficult to do?
Every time. I think it'll get easier every time, but I sit there with it over my leg, counting down and giving myself a little pep talk. But yeah, it's nice to be able to do it in my own home. And I was originally guided through and educated by the MS nurse at the MS Society on how to do this safely at home, which is another reason why they're so important.
When you're talking or counselling people, what's the first thing you say to them?
Look, I'm not a counsellor. I am another person living with MS.
But in a way, you're still counselling, because you're giving them an example. I'm alive, I'm still healthy, yeah, I have bad days.
Yeah, I love to give them a safe space to just express how they're feeling at that time and tell them that whatever they're feeling is okay. There is no right or wrong way to handle a diagnosis. There's no right or wrong way to feel. It's okay to sit with it, sit with the grief, feel angry, feel sad, feel it all. But with the right supports in place, you're going to be okay. Do
you still have ambition for life?
Absolutely.
And do your kids give you that in bucket loads?
Absolutely. And MS, if anything, although I would give it away if I could, it's given me an incredible perspective on life, and for that I will be forever grateful.
Look, I think the more interaction we have with people just generally, you must have found that bad, cars, government.
Yeah, look, it's about creating open discussion and safe spaces for people to say, I'm not coping or I'm experiencing this. So,
we're allowed to say I'm not coping.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we've often been brought up not to be, educated not to say I need help.
Yeah. And so for us, it's not only what our allied health professionals do, but it's people like Jess and the support networks that we create, which actually make a difference, because you're not only treating the disease and the condition and learning to live with that, but there's a lot of mental health issues secondary develop if people don't access the right supports.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. If you worry in silence at home, everything's worse, isn't it? When you think about it, just blows up.
Absolutely.
Did you go through that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it will come up and down forever. It wasn't just in the beginning. New symptoms appear. With a relapse comes another cycle of grief. And that's something that will always be. So it's important to stay connected.
Does the history of going through this, how long now have you known you had MS?
It first appeared in 2018 for me. So,
okay.
I mean, my daughter's almost 7, so about 7 years. Yeah.
And during that time, obviously you've been up, down, you've needed to rest, you've been just feeling completely like being hit by a bus, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you developed something in your own mind to say, no, I've got to get through this, or is it a matter of just giving into the way that your body is feeling until you know that after rest it will come back and you can do whatever you need to?
I think it's about acknowledging everything that I'm feeling. There was a quote I loved and has changed the way that I think, and there was an artist, a musician, who said, her name was Nightbird, and she's no longer with us, and she said that you can't wait until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy. And I think with MS it's always going to be hard. My life is always going to be hard, every day will be, but I can be happy. And so it's just about finding that balance and reconnecting with my body as it is now, and walking alongside MS.
And is it great to have a partner who understands you? That because you need to have people in your life that are that close to you that can sort of pick you up when you fall down, so to speak.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be where I was right now without my incredible support network. I'm very lucky. My family are incredible. My partner is there whenever I need her, especially managing being a parent.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's necessary not to suffer in silence or try and go through life alone.
Absolutely not.
We're going to take another short break, but we'll be back in just a tick. We've been talking in this episode about multiple sclerosis with Jessica Worsley, who sadly has it and has turned it into a positive in a way because you've embraced what it is and you're working with the society, and with Sean, who's the CEO. Sean, one thing we haven't talked about are the statistics of people who have or haven't or could or couldn't.
Yeah, so for South Australia and Northern Territory that we represent, over 3,000 people have MS and are living with that condition. And for nationally, it's about 33,000 people. And globally, 3 million. And look, those numbers are a little bit ballpark in some respect, but if you think about the profile, most people become diagnosed somewhere between 20 and 40 years of age, although there are outliers. And for every 4 cases, 3 of those cases are female. So if you think about what's happening in a woman's life between the ages of 20 and 40, you're talking about careers, you're talking about children, you're talking marriages, divorces, mortgages. So,
hopefully not at 20, a divorce already.
So, yeah, you add all that into people's lives, and MS is, you've got to manage MS, but you've also got to manage your life.
Yeah, I get it. And I guess because we've been talking to you, we're thinking female, but the fact that guys can get it as well, it's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
It would be to them too, I suspect.
So the research doesn't really know and can't pinpoint exactly what causes MS.
Yes.
There's lots of things that increase people's risk, but you could have all those risk factors and not get MS.
Yep.
Or you could actually have none of those risk factors and still get it. So the world doesn't know.
The word disease is the issue, isn't it? Because we don't really know what causes the disease in the first place. Like many other things that we're still finding out.
Yeah, so therefore it's hard to know what to target as a cure.
Very, very hard. Yes, I can imagine. Look, thanks so much. Thanks for being so honest about everything. I think for anybody that might be in your position, if they haven't really connected properly, I think you will have convinced them it's not difficult.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And just one more time, how do we find out more about MS?
Yeah, so if you Google MS Society, South Australia, Northern Territory, or insert other state, we'll come up in that list. And please, once you hit our website, we talk about the services, the things we can provide, and also how to buy lottery tickets and donate if you wish to.
And donate is the word, and I'm sure people that have suffered from it, if they have that little bit of income, they're usually the people that donate more than anybody else. Thanks once again. It's been great talking with you both. So until next time on Ad Time, we hope you can join us for some more really interesting people. Keep yourself nice until we meet again. Bye.